The Daily Jaws 50th Anniversary interview series is a collection of amazing conversations exploring the legacy of Steven Spielberg's screen adaptation of Jaws through the eyes of the fans. We'll be talking to famous fans, shark experts, people whose lives have been changed by the movie, and those that were there that helped to make the film. We'll also be telling you about two amazing organisations that are very close to our hearts. Anyway, that's enough from me. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show.
All of John Williams' scores are incredible. From Star Wars to Indiana Jones to E.T., The Schindler's List to Jurassic Park to endless amount. But if I had to put his scores on a list, I would have to say Jaws and Superman are 1 and 2, and I'd have to figure out which one is 1 and 2. Well, it definitely fits in the horror category. If anybody says that they weren't scared to get in their bathtub, their local lake, or their local ocean, they're lying. Definitely a horror. I would be lying if I said when I go jet skiing and when I'm on vacation or something and I fall in the water, that every scene of Jaws isn't popping in my mind, not knowing what's under me in the deep. Can it be rebooted? Yes. Will it be good? I don't think it's going to be as good as the original. No. These are the kings of movies. Spielberg is the king of movies, man. And Jaws was the beginning of it.
Hi guys, it's Ross over at the Daily Jaws with another really special 50th anniversary interview. Today's guest is a man of music. He's a producer, DJ. He was the DJ for Mariah Carey's tour. He's the house DJ for the Sherri Shepherd Show. Please welcome to the show, Steven Sussman, aka DJ Suss1. How you doing?
What's up, brother?
How you doing, Suss?
I'm good, my brother. How are you?
I'm good, dude. I'm really pleased to see you because honestly, we've been wanting to talk to you for a long time about Jaws because it's the 50th anniversary. I mean, can you believe we're talking about Jaws 50 years
Yeah, I
later?
can't believe I wasn't even born when the original Jaws came out. I was born in 1978. And I can't believe it's been 50 years. And before we get into this, I want to say thank you to you for keeping the Jaws energy alive on the internet. And, you know, because I follow the Daily Jaws and I love the franchise, and you really keep the entire energy of the whole franchise alive. So thank you to you.
Oh, thank you so much. It means a lot. I've got a very small team that support me, but it's a labor of love and a real passion project, and we're really proud of what we've done. And thank you. That's wonderful. But enough about me. What about you? When did you first see the movie? What do you remember about maybe that first time seeing it?
You know what's funny? I can't really tell you when I know I saw it when I was a kid. I was born in 1978, so I must have seen it in the early 80s because I definitely don't remember seeing it at 1 or 2 years old. So I can't tell you exactly when I saw it. I know I saw it in the early 80s for sure. And I know that it scared me to go into the water when I was a young kid. But it was such an impactful movie back then, and it started. It started, first of all, Spielberg's career, in my opinion, and it started the energy for these monster movies. You know, I know there used to be Frankenstein and those type of movies back in the day, but the energy behind Jaws was just crazy. It was a different type of scary.
It was. I think you're right. And when I've talked about Jaws on podcasts, I always talk about it as being one of the most deceptively marketed movie ever because everything was about the shark. You know, the first thing you heard in the TV spots or whatever it was, or even if it was the poster, it was all about the shark. And then when you actually go and watch the movie, the shark is hardly there. The shark is in the mind from the first moment because you just hear that beautiful, wonderful music by John Williams, which we'll come to. But you don't really see the shark. It's in your mind. Whereas a lot of the previous horror movies were very quick to get to the monsters.
And by the way, you're the Jaws professional, so correct me if I'm wrong, but from the research I've done over the years, that was by accident. They wanted the shark to be in the movie more. They called the shark Bruce during filming and all that. They wanted the shark to be during the movie more, but it just kept, malfunctioning and all that. So it ended up not being in the movie as much as they wanted, and it worked out for the best because it kept the suspense. And yeah, when you finally saw that shark, it was crazy. But it made the movie that much better.
It did, because it put the shark, as we say, sort of in our mind, and we put our personal projection onto what that monster might be, what it might look like underneath the water, like when it's the music or the barrels representing the shark. It kept the shark firmly in our minds where it needed to be. Just as a sort of a side question, Jaws is 2 hours, 4 minutes long. Do you know how long the shark is actually on screen for?
If I had to guess, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? It would definitely... They didn't show the shark until well in after the middle of the movie, and then when they were in the ocean, the whole part of the third part of the movie, that you saw the shark pretty often.
Mm.
From when he said we need a bigger boat all the way to the end of the movie. So what, 10 minutes maybe?
4 minutes.
4 minutes?
It's
Nah,
about 4 minutes. It's about 4 minutes 25 seconds. I've studied it and I've counted it. It's
well,
insane.
those 4 minutes were very impactful scenes.
Incredible. Incredible.
Yes.
When it comes to Jaws, what do you think makes it so special?
I mean, it's one of the first of its kind. Nobody, we see all types of shark movies now and special effects movies now. It did effects that nobody was doing at the time. It brought a shark into. I'm a big Superman fan. So, Christopher Reeve and Richard Donner, it was the first time you saw a man fly that looked realistic. This is the first time you saw a monster in the water that looked realistic like that. And it was very scary for the crowds at the time. It was like the first of its kind. It was a revolutionary film, honestly.
I think you're right. Again, it was like something very, very different, not just the way that it was marketed, but the way it was made. And I think it's one of the genuine movies where the hype, the movie matches the hype. People came away even more excited having seen the movie. They were exhilarated and cheering and all that kind of stuff. In
I
terms
missed
of,
this era. I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you see the
no,
reactions? I've Googled reactions that people, I don't know who filmed it, but reactions to people who saw the original Jaws film back then in the movie theater, and they were frightened. They were super scared.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Well, there was an interesting thing about that. In Jaws, there are two very big jump scares. This is obviously the bigger boat moment where Brody is chomming. By the way, spoilers, fans. I'm telling you, I'm going to give away the whole movie during this interview.
Spoilers. If anybody hasn't seen Jaws 1975 by now, come on.
Yeah, it's like, where have
Go
you been? But you got the bigger boat moment when Brody's chumming out the water, and obviously the shark comes out, and you get that fantastic line. And then there's the moment before when you've got the Ben Gardner head scene where Hooper's underneath the water and the head pops out of the boat.
Yeah.
That Ben Gardner jump scare wasn't actually in the original movie. That was sort of an afterthought because Spielberg watched the preview of it and he could see the audience were reacting, but he felt he needed something else sooner. And what he did is he put it in the movie. It worked really, really well. Popcorn flying everywhere. The biggest jump scare, or one of the best jump scares in cinema. But then he realized the reaction to the bigger boat moment was half because people weren't necessarily expecting it, but they'd already been primed for it. And it's just like, wow. So again, it's just a learning experience for Spielberg as well. Even as talented as he was back then, he was learning on the fly with this movie as well.
Yeah, salute to Steven Spielberg. Not only is he one of the greats, but he really brought this film to life. And it really launched him to do other movies, from E.T. to Indiana Jones to, Poltergeist to, the Jurassic Park, the millions of movies he did. So
He's not done too bad.
he hasn't done too bad.
He's
And
done
I'm
okay.
actually glad that John Williams stayed with him throughout these legendary franchises he created.
Oh, well, this is, again, it's one of those partnerships, and I'm sure you've had partnerships like this in your career where you just get two people with two very distinct skill sets coming together and just creating just an iconic tone for cinema for the rest of the generations to still enjoy, whether it's Spielberg, whether it's Jaws, Schindler's List, Indiana Jones, like you said. I mean, there was a really famous quote that Steven Spielberg said to John Williams about writing the Schindler's List score, because apparently he was quite worried about writing that score. And he said, there are far better musicians out there than me to write this, Steven. And apparently Steven Spielberg turned around, he goes, yeah, there are much better musicians out there, but they're all dead. We're talking about Mozart and Beethoven, and that's where I hold you in esteem. I need you for this movie.
Wow.
And it's just like, wow, what a compliment from a wonderful guy.
In my opinion, John Williams is the greatest movie composer, at least since I've been alive. And there's a lot of great ones. I think John Williams is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? I think Steven Spielberg is the greatest movie director, creator of movies since I've been alive, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you think Jaws is Spielberg's best movie?
Wow, now that's a conversation. I have to give Jaws its credit because it launched everything for him. You know what I'm saying? His best movie, it might be. I gotta really think about that. E.T. was phenomenal. Jurassic Park, he brought dinosaurs to life. That was phenomenal. Jaws was phenomenal. I loved Indiana Jones. There was so many movies of his that I love. So,
It's
Jaws,
crazy.
there hasn't been they haven't been able to create a shark movie like Jaws. Not even the sequels. Like, no disrespect to the whole franchise, because I love 2, I love 3, I even like 4, which was very low budget and did make a lot of sense. But I even love that movie. Um, but there hasn't been another shark movie like the original Jaws. There hasn't been another water monster movie like Jaws ever since
No.
1975 to 2025. Never, ever has it been done.
Mm.
So
I think I was going to say, I think the interesting thing, a lot of people refer to Jaws as a shark movie, but when you look at it, not just from the amount of time that the shark is on the camera on screen, but also the fact that it's such a character-driven piece, I actually think it's not necessarily a disservice, but not necessarily the most accurate way to describe Jaws, even though it gave birth to the shark movie. Because when you look at all these other shark movies that have come since then, to your point, they seem to put the shark first and the action first rather than the characters. And when you look at all of the classic movies, so whether it's because you and I are a similar age, I think it's maybe a year or so between us. It's Superman, like you already mentioned, or it's The Godfather, or it's something maybe a bit more recent, maybe like something like Pulp Fiction or The Shawshank Redemption or something like that. Is we go back for the characters. We've seen the action before, but it's the characters that come back that we come back for. So I think that in terms of my perspective on the Spielberg Jaws best movie thing, I think Spielberg developed his style. He started to develop his signature through Jaws, just through the moments that he chose and the way that he shot. And as we say, we think he learned a lot making Jaws. I still think it's his best movie, but like I say, he's done all right.
why do you think it's his best movie? Is that the reasoning? Or
I think what it is, it's the, it's like when you're watching an up and coming person and they're developing their style, they're finding their voice. It's maybe, again, it might be something like the same with musicians where they're sort of just figuring out they can learn to play the instruments, they can put together a song and they can produce stuff, but it's not them yet. Do you know what I mean? And this seems to be the breakthrough of Spielberg becoming Spielberg, even though you saw the signs clearly in things like Duel, which was an amazing TV movie about a truck, which is very similar in tone to Jaws. You've got the Sugarland Express where you start to see that, oh, okay, this guy's actually very good. And he shoots in a different way and tells stories in a different way. But then you get Jaws and it's just like, wow, this guy's, like you say, possibly the greatest filmmaker that's ever lived. And he's consistently proved it again and again and again and again. But to your point, I think it started with Jaws. And that for me is why I think Spielberg's movies, I think Jaws still just tops it. And it's a hell of a
yeah, I
biography.
think I agree with
Incredible.
you. I think I agree with you.
Absolutely. So Jaws is a really character-driven piece. And there are obviously sort of three amazing characters in there, Quint, Hooper, and Brody. Do you have a particular favorite character or a lead character you feel that you maybe identify the most with?
I think it would have to be, I don't know, Quint was a good villain, but I think Brody, I liked the how Roy Scheider brought that whole entire character together. I love Richard Dreyfuss also. I mean, they were all great. I think it's unfair to pick somebody, but Quint, what's the actor's name that played Quint? Well, Robert
Uh,
Shaw.
Robert Shaw, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he did an incredible job as the villain. Everybody did an incredible job, but I think, obviously Brody was, the most important part to me. I don't know. I don't even know if that's fair to say, but I would have to go with Brody, I believe.
It's absolutely fair to say it's your interview, and I actually feel the same way. I used to. I've said this before on other interviews, but when I first saw Jaws, I think we probably saw it around the same age, same time, sort of early 80s. So I would have been about 5. I loved Hooper because I loved the shark. Because that's why I wanted to watch Jaws, because I wanted to see people getting chomped up and all that kind of stuff. And then as I grew up a little bit older, I started to identify a bit more with Quint, because you start to go through things in life and you identify with what he's been through, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But then as you get older, maybe, I've got a couple of goddaughters and a godson. That paternal instinct and that sense of duty starts to come out, and you start to maybe identify a bit more with Brody. And I think it's just looking at those characters through my own sort of evolution and growing up. I mean, I can relate to all of them in all different ways, is what I think makes such a special movie. Because in my mind, I can't think of another movie where the casting has been better and the characters have been just better. I just can't really think of one. Okay, granted, I've seen Jaws like 150,000 times, but I
Me
still,
too.
I still think from a casting perspective, it's really difficult to beat.
Brody, it also set the tone for the franchise because the Brody family was for the rest of the franchise.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they all did a great job, man. They all did an incredible job and contributed to this amazing film piece.
yeah, they were awesome.
Look,
Um,
you love Jaws. Do you
mm,
do you love the, I don't want to turn into the interviewer, but do you love the
okay,
sequels, or
okay.
what sequels do you not like? What sequels do you like?
So, okay. So let me see. So I was a child of the 80s. So I managed to watch all of the Jaws movies before the age of probably 8 or 9. So I was
Me
very
too.
open to suggestion and I was very vulnerable to very crazy movie ideas. The thing is, I didn't realize how good Jaws was. I mean, it was always my favorite movie. It was the movie I connected with the most. But I didn't realize how good Jaws was until I was maybe a little bit older, because then I would watch the sequels again and I would go, I now understand what a good movie is and what a bad movie is. Whereas as a kid, I was like, Jaws 2, there's more shark. This is amazing. Oh my God, they've set it on fire. It's crashed through the boat. This is nuts. And I'm thinking, this is
Yeah, I didn't
brilliant.
understand either.
Yeah. And then Jaws 3, it's in SeaWorld. This is fantastic. The mama shark's giving birth to a baby shark and she's pissed off. This is brilliant. Amazing. And
Yeah.
then and then Jaws the Revenge. It's followed them to the Bahamas. Of course. Why not? Why wouldn't it? You're just like, this is insane. So it's like,
Yeah.
but then as you get older, you kind of watch it and you think, yeah, those were pretty insane ideas that they came up with. But then when you think about it, the original Jaws was full circle. It was the perfect story, perfect ending. There was nowhere else it needed to go. But obviously, the studio had a mega hit, and they'd be stupid not to make a sequel. So they've got to try and take advantage of that in some way, shape, or form. And we kind of got the sequels that we did because it's a pretty unrefreshable idea, really.
So I'm not mad. As a kid, I was the same as you. I loved all of them. I didn't
Mm,
understand really what a bad movie was. Like some of the elements that I see are bad in Jaws for the Revenge. I didn't really notice when I was a kid.
mm,
But I'm not mad at two. I like two, even though
mhm.
I don't think Roy wanted to do it. But
Yeah,
I
he
really
didn't.
liked. Yeah, he didn't want to do it, right?
He
I
didn't want
like
to do
two.
it. Yeah.
I like two. Three, I like three. Honestly, I like three also. The 3D element wasn't as good as it should have been, but I like three also. Four had a lot of not nonsense in it. It had a lot of nonsense in it. Like the shark came for revenge because sharks don't even think that way. But I still appreciate four. I have to say, man, a lot of things I accept because of when it came out. It's the '80s,
Mm.
and there was a lot of cheesy things that happened in the '80s in film that I think are classics. So I love Howard the Duck. It was probably the worst. It was probably the worst performing movie in the theaters at the time.
There was a scene in Howard the Duck that I actually think probably found scarier than watching Jaws. I think it was Jeffrey Jones, the actor, turns into this creature. I haven't seen it in years, and he turned into like this creature thing that scared me more than Jaws. I was just, oh my
Oh,
God, I can't.
really?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Now,
Um,
the only movie in that time that I think scared me equally as Jaws or more than Jaws was
God,
Poltergeist.
the bit that freaked me out was the bit with the chairs. That freaked me out when the chairs are made into like a pyramid kind of thing in the kitchen
That
because
part
they
freaked you out. Not the whole movie. There's so many parts that freaked me out.
that freaked me out because I was just, oh my God. I mean, it's
The
a
chairs
good
freaked you
movie.
out more than the skulls in the pool,
Yeah,
more than the clown coming to life.
yeah, because I love it, and I'm a big fan of the Goonies, so I kind of seen that stuff before. But the chairs,
Okay.
I was like, okay, that's creepy. That's creepy. Yeah. We've got to obviously talk about the music in Jaws because the music in Jaws is just so it's beyond iconic. But before I do that, there was just something that I have to do. If you give me just one moment.
Of course. Oh, there's somebody else
DJ
there. How you doing?
One.
How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, man. Good to see you.
Oh, nice to see you. I love that you love this movie. I thought,
Wow.
what fun to surprise you.
Wow. What's up, brother?
And Mariah Carey. So,
Yo, this is an honor. Very nice to meet you, my brother.
oh, you're very sweet. How old were you when you saw this?
I'm not sure how old I was. I know I saw it in the early 80s. I was born in 78.
Oh, God, you're a baby. I lie about my age every day until now.
Yo, man,
So
tell me how it was being a part of the part of that film.
Well, it was unbelievable. The first day of shooting was the day I find the body, the hand on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I was so nervous I could have really thrown up. I show up, it's the first honey wagon I ever had in my life. And everything went wrong in this movie. We really thought it would never get released. The shark never worked. They shot out all the cover sets. So eventually I thought, oh my God, my part got a little bit bigger because they needed extra stuff to shoot. And it was a disaster. The shark never worked. They thought it wouldn't work. And it was like this perfect creative storm. Everything came together. The editing, the music added so much. And it was better off not seeing the shark so much. You had to rely on character, you know? It was like this perfect creative storm.
I don't want to take over the whole interview. I just got one more question.
Please go ahead.
Before the editing process,
Right.
what was the energy? Because the editing showed that the shark didn't need to be seen that much.
Well,
but did they understand that before the editing process?
When we were shooting it, we thought we were in big trouble. There were rumors always that they were going to pull the plug because they were way over budget. You know, they were supposed to be out of Martha's Vineyard by the start of the high season, by the 4th of July. They didn't end till the middle of August. It was, and paying a fortune. We thought they're going to pull this plug. Everybody was panicked.
Wow.
And I mean, it was crazy.
Wow, I have. Go ahead, Ross, because I could ask 30,000 questions.
I'm here for a couple of minutes, so ask
go
me.
ahead.
I came to surprise
Please.
you.
We've done this to surprise you, Steve. So go for it.
Ross is going to cut me out of it anyway.
Was the cast pleasant to work with at the time?
Yes. Roy was a good guy in Jaws 1. Jaws 2, he was not so happy. He didn't want to do it. They made him contractually, and you know, he threw temper tantrums in front of 400 people.
Oh, I see.
Oh boy.
I heard the same story, but I loved Jaws 2, man. I hope he realized.
I get it. It was really, you know, the joke always was that if any of us ever went to prison, he got 6 months off of any jail term just for doing Jaws 2 in Pensacola.
Really?
It was so cold. Sometimes we had to chew ice before we shot so you wouldn't see the breath.
Oh, my God.
I mean, really, it was unbelievable.
That's amazing, man. Well, I want to say thank you, because I know Ross is going to ask some more questions. I want to say thank you for what you contributed to this franchise. We appreciate you.
Oh, you are a doll, Steven. Thank you. DJ Sus1.
Yes.
Thanks, kid. I appreciate you.
Nah, I appreciate you, brother.
You made my day. Thank you.
Thanks,
Ross.
Jeffrey.
Bye,
Lovely
you
to
guys.
see you. Hey guys, it's Ross. I hope you're enjoying this week's episode. Bruce and I just wanted to take a moment to tell you about a couple of the organisations that we've been working with, and also some of the new products you can find in our store. Minorities in Shark Sciences, or MISS for short. A non-profit founded in 2020 that champions diversity in shark, ray and marine sciences. MISS creates equitable opportunities for historically underrepresented communities through hands-on programs and believes that diverse scientists bring diverse ideas, driving the innovation essential for ocean conservation. Representation matters, and MISS is making sure the next generation sees a place for themselves in marine biology. Learn more and support their mission at missalesmo.org. The mission of the Tourette Association of America is to provide help and hope to those affected by Tourette syndrome, tic disorders, and associated conditions through awareness, research, and support. It's the only national organisation serving the community and works to raise awareness, advance research, and provide ongoing support to patients and families impacted by Tourette syndrome and tic disorders. To this end, the Tourette Association of America directs a network of 31 chapters, 83 support groups, and recognises 18 centres of excellence across the country. It's a non-profit organisation and is extremely close to the heart of not just Jeffrey Kramer, but also his family. The Daily Jaws store is home to some of the world's most exciting Jaws products, including screen-accurate barrels and tanks, a chalkboard shark shadowcaster, a yellow barrel koozie, an orca transom and 3 yellow barrel keychains, and much more. Visit store.thedailyjaws.com. For non-US orders, please email orders@thedailyjaws.com. Thanks for listening. Now back to the show.
That was a good surprise.
Good. I'm glad your face, you were like, huh? Brilliant.
That was a good surprise. I didn't realize who I was looking at for a second. I was like, what's going on? I thought it was like maybe your manager or somebody in the
No. We've been planning this. I've been messaging Jeffrey, just trying to get the times right, because he wants to meet as many of the fans as possible. And I'm like, well, he knows that I'm trying to do this, so he's just like, well, I'll help you. So I'm like, awesome, let's do it. So
thank you for that.
No, you're more than welcome. We were going to talk about the music of Jaws, and obviously you are a man of music, and for me, Jaws is the music in Jaws is so important and iconic. I mean, what are your thoughts on the music?
So I have to be honest, man. I think John Williams, I said earlier, is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. When it comes to movie scores, the answer to your question is the Jaws theme is one of the greatest of all time. It brought the whole entire movie to life. It it created, goosebumps on my arms. When the music played, it scares me to hear it when I'm near water. All of that.
Mm.
I did because I'm a DJ. I'm always looking at samples. I don't know if you know this, but he took pieces. I have it pulled up here of Symphony Number 9 from the New World Fourth Movement and the Rite of Spring Part 1. Did you know that?
People have been telling me about
For the
this on
music for Jaws.
in interviews. Yeah, a couple of people have mentioned it. I just before I spoke to you this evening, I spoke to Charlie Benente, who's the drummer for Anthrax, who's also a massive Jaws fan. He pointed out the same thing,
Mhm.
and it's just like, oh, so I now need to go away
I
and do some research on this. It's incredible.
I didn't know that until the past like year maybe. And at first I was upset about it, but then I realized John Williams is great and he definitely made it his own. There's a part in
Mm.
it, once you hear it, you'll hear the dun dun dun, dun, but he made it his own.
Mm.
But yeah, to answer your question, it's probably top two, top three greatest movie. It might be the top one greatest movie things of all time. I mean, I love what he did with Superman.
Yeah,
That that was incredible. So Jaws was
yeah.
incredible. Superman was incredible. All of John Williams' scores are incredible. From Star Wars to Indiana Jones to E.T., The Schindler's List to Jurassic Park to endless amount. But if I had to put his scores on a list, I would have to say Jaws and Superman are 1 and 2, and I'd
Mm.
have to figure out which one is 1 and 2.
Yeah. It's a
It's
tough one, isn't
iconic.
it? Particularly, this is the thing. It's iconic, and the thing is, it's the thing with John Williams. I think he's particularly good at scoring character signatures because everyone that we've just talked about there, whether it's Jaws, Superman, Indiana Jones, those are all about something. And like we say, like Spielberg is on record as saying that John Williams gave him the shark he didn't have. He had to find the shark somewhere, so he found it in the music, and he found it using the barrels and all of those kind of things. So John Williams is very, very good at finding signatures, I think, and there are some really interesting samples of the Jaws theme or some of the Jaws score. Have you heard of Eggman by the Beastie Boys?
I know the Beastie Boys' License to Ill album. I don't know if I know that song.
So Eggman is it's an older one. If you listen towards the end, it's got the scene with the campfire and the audio from that and the harmonica and the guitar from Jaws at the beginning. And it's got some of
Really?
the Jaws theme through it. Yeah, I was listening to it because I listen to all kinds of stuff, and I was listening to this, and I'm thinking, I recognize this, but I didn't have my Jaws radar on at all. And then I heard it, and I'm like, towards the end, and I'm like, that's Jaws. And I listened to it again, and I'm like, damn, they actually remixed Jaws into their thing. I should maybe try and talk to them, actually.
Yeah, you should. I gotta check that
Yeah,
out.
yeah, it's
I'm
called
usually
Egg.
the sample guy. I usually know all the samples. You just got me. I gotta listen to that one.
Yeah, it's called Eggman by Beastie Boys. It's a good tune, good tune. Um, so we've talked about sort of your preferences around sort of Jaws in terms of the characters, and we discussed the music. Um, but the thing is, one of the things that I find really interesting is that Jaws is very difficult to categorize as a movie. Some people say it's an adventure, some people say it's a thriller, some people say it's a horror. What type of movie do you think Jaws is, and what do you think it's trying to tell us?
Well, it definitely fits in the horror category. If anybody says that they weren't scared to get in their bathtub, their local lake, or their local ocean, they're lying. Definitely a horror. And it was thriller also. There's thriller elements to it. But yeah, no, it definitely fits in the horror category. I gotta look at my Apple TV and see what they actually categorize the movie in.
I think it's normally thriller. Normally,
Really, it's a thriller?
yeah. But you're
Yeah,
right. There
to
are
me,
elements to different things there, aren't there?
Jaws scared the out of me. Okay, it was a horror movie. I was scared. I remember where we were in the Bahamas or Barbados. I forget when I was a kid. My dad brought me and my sister to. It was either the Barbados, Bahamas. I don't remember exactly. And I got on a banana boat. The scene from the Jaws: The
Yeah,
Revenge.
yeah, yeah.
I envisioned every shark scene from every one of those movies, and I could not stay in the water that long. It was a horror movie. It
It
was
was
a
a
horror
horror
movie.
movie.
Yes.
And what do you think Jaws is trying to tell us? Because there's so many different characters there with different motivations, and they're all affected by the shark in different ways. Do you think there's a message that Jaws is trying to tell us?
I don't know about a message. The message it gave me is these guys are great filmmakers and know how to bring a scary monster to life
Mm.
in a time with no computers, no message. There's no. I don't know what the message would be. But I just appreciated the message to me was how they brought this energy to life in a time where there was no special effects and none of that. They created this from scratch. That was my
Mm.
message from the movie. I don't know what
Yeah.
message they were trying to give across with the story. I just thought they were just trying to scare the hell out of people. It was incredible. Wait, did you get a message from the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of depends on how you watch Jaws. I know that sounds like a strange thing to say, but like for example, Jaws was probably my first lesson in politics in terms of like when you look at the
Really?
mayor and what he
Why? Because
does.
they were dealing
Yeah,
with the mayor,
yeah, and how people will collude to cover stuff up for their own interests, and how the people in charge don't always have your best interests at heart, even though they may appear to. And like the one of the key scenes to me as a kid was when it's the 4th of July, the mayor's on the beach and he's doing an interview with the reporter who's played by Peter Benchley, the writer of the movie. Sorry, the writer of the book and co-writer of the movie. And the mayor's in front of screaming kids, all having a great time. And he's like, the beaches are open, people are having a wonderful time, everything's great. But he knows that there's a shark out there that could hurt these people, and he's just in it to try and put on a brave face and hope it goes okay. And obviously, the shark wreaks havoc, as we know. So for me, it just makes me think, okay, maybe the people that are in charge or that are governing or administering don't always have your best interests at heart. And I think that's one of the reasons why Jaws actually is still quite relevant, even sort of 50 years later, particularly when COVID happened, because we
Yeah, yeah.
found that there was a big comparison with Jaws when it came to lockdown. So it's like, do we keep people locked in? Do we keep them locked out? Beaches open, beaches closed. What's the decision? No one really knows.
I see.
Yeah. And then the other one was, and this was direct, people were comparing our PM at the time, Boris Johnson, to Mayor Vaughan, because the stuff he was saying were just like, he's doing a Mayor Vaughan. He is absolutely doing a Mayor Vaughan. And then this is on record. I can't remember the exact quote, but I'll pop it up on the screen so it can be correct. But Boris Johnson was asked about the mayor from Jaws, and he goes, he's a fantastic politician. I wish there were more like him out there, or something like that. And you're just like, oh my God, that's
Wow.
insane. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
Wow.
Jaws sort of came back during COVID, and it became sort of a metaphor for it. So obviously Jaws had quite an impact on you when it came to being scared of the water, all that kind of stuff.
Oh no, it was one of the greatest of all time, the greatest horror movies of all time. Horror
Oh,
movies of all time.
horror. It's confirmed. It's
Yes.
100%, guys. It's a horror movie. We've got it confirmed. Where are you on the whole shark thing? Like, are you still quite frightened by them? Are you fascinated by them? You kind of in the middle? Where are you?
I'm in the middle. I would be lying if I said when I go jet skiing and when I'm on vacation or something and I fall in the water that every scene of Jaws doesn't pop in my mind, not knowing what's under me in the deep.
Yeah.
So that movie has affected me for life. It doesn't affect me as much as it did when I was a child, but it's
Mm.
still that those thoughts are still there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that energy's still there. That's gonna be there for life. I'm not at 100% peace. When I fall in the ocean, whatever, I'm not at 100% peace.
Yeah.
I try to get out the water instantly because of the energy that I've experienced watching Jaws my whole life.
This is the thing. You can go swimming in because I like to dive and I like to swim in the ocean when I can. And there'll be moments when I'm sort of swimming along, I'll just be, this is the best thing in the world. I'm relaxed, I'm at peace. And all of a sudden I'll just get a moment where I just think, was that a fin? I need to get out. And literally I will swim as fast as I possibly can back to that beach. Now we've got some controversial questions for you. This is the ones that we've posted on social media throughout the last sort of 10 years since we've been doing the Daily Jaws. And they're always a bone of contention. So I've got 3 or 4 of these and I just want your opinion on these. So the first question is a little bit ambiguous, but I think if you know what I mean, you'll know what the answer is. So first question, coffee or coffee ice cream?
No, he meant coffee.
He meant
But
coffee.
the way I interpreted that scene was that, you know what's so funny? I never thought about that. Now that you said it, maybe they did mean coffee or ice cream. I didn't interpret it as that. I interpreted it as coffee, but I interpreted that scene as she would let him have anything he wants. She was just so happy that he was alive because she almost lost him to the shark. That's how I interpreted. Like he could have asked for cigarettes at that point. Cigarettes,
Vodka.
exactly.
Fine.
That's
give him
how
what he
I
wants.
interpreted it.
Yeah. No, I remember once when my cat died, I was
I
devastated.
never thought of that. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she
But
did mean coffee ice cream. I don't know.
yeah, but what you're saying could be true as well. Because I remember when my cat died when I was very, very young, I was devastated because I love that cat. And my mum was like, "What do you want?" And I said, "I want the Ghostbusters set." So she went out and bought me the Ghostbusters set. I'm like, when a
Yeah.
mum is feeling close to their kids, yeah, you get what you want. So yeah, maybe he's asking for that cup of coffee. Who knows? Who
Well,
knows?
then the question has to be asked, why would he even think to ask for coffee if he's never been given coffee before?
I have a theory on this.
Okay.
Maybe he thinks now that he's a big man because he survived the shark encounter. He's a man. He can ask for coffee.
Mm, that's a good way to
Maybe.
look at it.
Maybe
Yeah,
that could
maybe
be the
that's
that could be the
it.
energy that he's got. He's got that big man energy now that he's had that shark encounter. So who knows?
I'm gonna go with
Um,
that. I like that.
yeah, I think let's go. I think we've cracked that Da Vinci Code there. I think that's a good one. Okay, next question. You can save one character from Jaws. So it's either Chrissy, Pippet the dog, Alex, Ben Gardner, the estuary victim, or Quint. Who are you saving and why?
Well, no disrespect to Quint, but it can't be Quint. He was a supervillain. Name all of them again. You put me in the position. I have to say the dog. By the way, they're gonna come for me if I don't say the dog. But go ahead. No, I would. Who? What was the kid's name that died? That
Alex.
Brody got slapped over.
It was
Alex.
Alex.
I would have to say Alex. I would
Yeah.
have to say Alex. But tell me, it was the one from the intro of the movie.
So yeah, it was
It was
Chrissy, Pippet the
Chrissy.
dog,
There was Pippi the
Alex,
dog. Alex.
Ben Gardner, estuary victim who will remain nameless, and Quint.
Man, that's kind of a horrible question. I have to pick which one I would save their life.
Yep.
That's so bad.
I
I'm
love
gonna.
this question because everyone's got. I don't know what to do. I love it.
I feel bad no matter what I say. I'm gonna have to say Alex because he was such a young kid. He had his whole life ahead of him. But so was the teenager that died, or was she a teenager or her younger 20s that
I
died at
think
the
she was early
beginning of the
20s.
movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's
a
a tough one,
horrible
isn't it?
question.
I'll tell you
That's a
what.
tough one.
Let's talk again next week, and then maybe because I can see you quite. You look stressed out by this. This is supposed to be fun. I don't
I
want you
got
to
to
come
think
away
about
strong.
that. You know, the death scene of Alex was, you know, death is horrible in general, but the way they presented that death scene with Alex made me feel
Yeah.
worse for him than everybody else, I think.
That was awful. Just seeing him disappear under that massive explosion of blood. It's just like, oh my God. But
Yeah,
the
exactly. The
I think
dog, you never saw the dog get
well,
devoured.
can you see this? Because that was actually going to be my next question. Because I was going to
Oh
say,
no, I can't see it.
yeah, did Pippet the dog live or die?
I'm gonna say he died. I think that was the whole selling of that scene. Pippet, Pippet, Pippet. It lets you know
Mm.
the shark is here and somebody got something got killed because of the shark was here. I thought that was the introduction to the sharks here, and it's
Because
time for
because there was, I don't know if you've seen it, and I've mentioned this on a couple of interviews because everyone loves this question, the Pippet live or die question. But I did a video about Pippet the dog a few years ago, and it was just an examination about the history of the
Mhm.
dog, how the dog became a part of the movie, all that kind of stuff. And then as I was studying the movie, there's a shot of Brody, which is just after Michael Brody has been. He's encountered the shark and he's being pulled to shore. And there's a shot of Brody running down the beach, down the bridge, and then he jumps over the bridge to run to his son. Do you remember that shot?
Mhm. Yes, I
Yep.
remember that shot.
In the background on that bridge is a black
There
Labrador
was
dog.
was there. I gotta go rewatch it now.
Yeah. So there's possibility that Pippet lived, or that could be Spielberg just going, "Don't worry, the dog lived," or it could just be another black Labrador. We'll never know.
I'm gonna go with how I thought they were trying to sell that scene that Pippet
Mm.
got eaten by the shark.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Yeah, I think
But
that's
if
I
there
think
is a
that was the
chance that he
setup.
lived, yeah, I think so.
Plus, if it's
Um,
gonna be a horror movie the way it was, we can't say the dog survived. I don't know. In my opinion.
well, it's a great sort of message to send to the moviegoers, isn't it? A kid and a dog are going to die in the first 20 minutes of this movie. No one is safe, because you don't kill kids, you don't kill
No one is
animals.
safe. Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so anyone is
Exactly.
up for grabs. Okay, last controversial question, and then we'll wrap up. Why didn't they take Hooper's boat?
Was it something that Quint said? Did Quint say when he said he wanted to do this that it had to be his boat? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, this is the
Well, that
thing.
wasn't Quint's. Was that Quint's boat?
So it was Quint's boat that they went out on.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. And
exactly.
it was,
So it must have been Quint because Quint. I mean, I don't know if this is a fact or not. This is just how I'm interpreting it. Quint. He didn't even. I don't think he wanted anybody to even go with him to kill the shark. He wanted to do it on his own, but they went. So they had to do it on his terms, which is in his
Mhm.
boat. I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. Because there is a moment in Quint's shack where they're all kind of they're all sort of sizing each other up, particularly Hooper and Quint when he gets him to tie Sheepshank, and they voice various concerns to Quint, and Quint just turns around and says, "Maybe I should go alone." So yeah, you're right. I think it's his way or the highway, and Brody wants to make sure this is going to
That's
get
what I
done. And
thought.
this,
That's what I feel.
yeah, I think you're right.
I think
Okay,
it was
so
Quint.
um, now we've talked about the sequels, and obviously there's been a whole legacy of shark movies since Jaws came out. Some not bad, some terrible. Um, but do you think Jaws could be remade or rebooted, sort of in today's movie landscape?
Can it be rebooted? Yes. Will it be good? I don't think. I don't think it's going to be as good as the original. No, it can be rebooted. They reboot everything. I'm a big Freddy Krueger fan. I love A
Mm,
Nightmare on Elm Street. That's another one of my favorite franchises until it got
yeah.
corny.
Mm,
They rebooted A Nightmare on Elm Street. What was it, in 2010 or something like that,
yeah.
and it was horrible. So they can reboot it. Can they do it where it's going to be accepted just as how Jaws? We're in a different time now. Like that was the first of its kind.
Mm,
If they rebooted it now, what is going to make it magic? Because it's not the first of its kind.
mm.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It'd be what would be the point? I think is kind of my thing with that because I've been asked that question before, and I think you can't replicate what they did because I've always described Jaws as the right movie where all the right things went wrong because the shark didn't work, which means they could work on the characters and the script more, which makes us connect more with the story and the impact the shark is having on these characters. So when they do go out to sea, we genuinely care about these people on this boat. So yeah, so I think it would be very difficult to replicate it. I don't think it would ever happen. I don't think Steven Spielberg or his team would ever let it happen. Steven Spielberg, if you're listening, please don't do that. But yeah, so I think there are interesting directions in which the story could have gone. Like for example, Jaws 2. I like the Jaws 2 that we've got, but I would have been really interested to see the Jaws 2 we could have got because before originally there was a director called John D. Hancock who had made some really great movies, sort of a mixture of horrors and chillers and all that kind of stuff. And he landed Jaws 2, and he and his wife had written a really great script about Amity Island and how it had been decimated economically because of the previous shark attacks. It's a summer town now. It is
Which, by the way,
literally.
would make. I'm sorry to interrupt. By the way, that would make more sense for Jaws 2. What didn't make sense, even though I love Jaws 2, don't get me wrong, but what didn't make sense is that the mayor and his whole team did the exact same mistake and doubted Brody again after they lost, you know, the kid and everybody that they lost. Like the fact that it just seemed like that they were trying to make one again. But I love part two, but the story you was just trying to sell to me just now would have made more sense.
Well, my biggest question about Jaws 2 is how did the mayor even get re-elected?
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
everybody kind of knows like what a bad job he did, but it's like okay, he's still there. But yeah, I think the original incarnation of Jaws 2 would have been more interesting and, like you say, a bit more sensical in terms of where to carry the story on from. But we got the Jaws 2 that we did, and it's not a bad movie. It's just maybe not the one we could have had, but it is what it is. Um, so we've sort of coming to the end of the interview, and this has been fantastic. What do you think is the lasting legacy of Jaws? I mean, why are we sitting here 50 years later or 50 years after it's come out and we're still talking about it and watching it?
Come on, man. Like Jaws set the tone for incredible movies, horror movies, movie scores, the way movies are done, the impacts. Like I don't know. It just set the tone for a lot of movies that came after that. A lot
Mm.
of people tried to copy the energy of Jaws. They couldn't mimic it though. But it was just such an impactful movie. Nobody had seen anybody bring a shark to life like that, first of all, ever. Um, and it was at the beginning of special effects on that level. Like they
Mm,
really got creative. All the problems they had with Bruce the shark at the time, they felt that, but they really brought special effects to life that had never been done before. And
mm,
and it created this horror magic that had never been done before. It created energy that has never been done before. And that's why I think that they could, but they shouldn't try to recreate that because they're never going to be able to repeat that magic unless
mm,
they could think of something else to bring to the table that hasn't been done before, regarding movies and sharks. I don't think they
mm.
should do it again.
Yeah, I mean, you see people try doing things like Sharknado and all that kind of stuff, and the only person that's really kind of replicated the excitement and that energy that you were talking about is Spielberg again with Jurassic Park and dinosaurs. I think that's probably the closest we've ever had since Jaws. I can't think of anything else that even really comes close.
I'm trying to think of the movies before Spielberg was around, but Close Encounters, he brought
But
aliens alive.
yeah, because that was his next movie
That
after Jaws,
was
wasn't it? It's only
Spielberg,
2 years
right?
later. Yeah, that was 2 years
Yeah,
after
yeah.
Jaws.
He
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
he brought aliens alive, which I heard he's working on an alien movie now, by the way. He brought aliens alive. He brought the shark alive. E.T. was an alien. He brought that alien alive. Um, yeah, and he brought dinosaurs alive. These are the kings of movies.
Mm,
Spielberg is the king of movies, man. And Jaws was the beginning of it.
mm.
Jaws was the
Brilliant.
start of that. For
That
me,
was
for
it.
my lifetime. You know what I'm saying? I know there's people who say movies that from the 60s and maybe early 70s, but for me, and I didn't get to experience Jaws in the theater the way some people did. I had to see it on VHS or on television in the 80s.
Mm.
But to me, that was like the start of incredible movies.
I think that's beautiful because Jaws is the start, not just in terms of movies, but for so many other people. So many people that have been inspired by Jaws to study sharks, get into music, become actors, get in filmmaking. It was the start of something for so many people, and I think you've really sort of hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah, man. Thank you for keeping the energy of Jaws alive.
Well, thank
You
you.
know,
Well, thank
it's
you for
amazing what
following,
you're
and
doing.
thank you for just being a part of this amazing community and giving us so much of your time today. It's been a real pleasure. Before I sort of sign off for the interview, is there anything else you'd like to add or say, or any messages for the fans, or anything like that at all?
Yeah, guys, just keep watching Jaws over and over again every 4th of July. I watch it all the time, but every 4th of July, watch Jaws. Keep the legacy alive. Introduce it to your kids. Introduce it to your family members. Introduce it to your loved ones that might not have seen it because it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Period.
Brilliant, fantastic. Thank you, guys. I've been Ross for the Daily Jaws with DJ Sus1 talking about Jaws for the 50th anniversary. Until next time, I'll bid you a fond farewell, and as always, I'll drink to your legs. That's it for today's deep dive into Jaws, the film that turned beaches into no-swim zones and created the summer blockbuster. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to follow, rate and review. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, just when you thought it was safe to stop listening, there's plenty more episodes to come. Please be sure to check out the work of Minorities and Shark Sciences and also the Tourette's Association of America. That's it for now, guys, but I'll catch you next time. I'll drink to your legs.